Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Monica Saini from Department of Anthropology, University of Delhi. Today we are going to discuss about module Recent Trends in Personal Identification under Forensic Anthropology paper. So students, let us see what we are going to learn in this module. This module would deal with the concept, characteristics, and functioning of a biometric system, different type of physical and behavioral biometrics. In addition, it will also introduce you to the multimodal biometric system. And in the last, I will tell you about the applications of biometrics. The classical methods for personal identification, depending mainly on the personal probabilities, are being increasingly challenged. Accurate and efficient recognition have become a vital requirement for identification because of the intensified need of individualization and diversities of criminal activities. In recent years, traditional methods of establishing a person's identity are replaced by a sound scientific and justifiable protocols. Biometrics offers a unique and reliable system of identification with high confidence. It also overcomes the loopholes that are found in the traditional identification system. It is considered as a fundamental shift in the way persons are identified. So biometrics is basically, it is the science of establishing the identity of an individual based on the physical or behavioral attributes of a person. These characteristics or these attributes are also known as traits, indicators, identifiers, or modalities in the biometric literature. The selection of each biometric trait depends on the variety of issues besides its matching criteria. First characteristic is universality. Every individual who is using the biometric application must possess the trait. Second is uniqueness. The trait must show a sufficient difference across the individual comprising the population. Permanence. The given biometric trait should not change significantly over a period of time. The fourth characteristic is measurability, which is the trait should be easy to get and it should be easy to digitize and should not cause inconvenience to the individual. The trait should also be amenable to process further in order to extract features from the acquired data. The fifth characteristic is performance. The recognition accuracy and the resources acquired to achieve that accuracy must meet the constraints imposed by the individual. Then we have acceptability. Individuals who will access the biometric device should be willing to present their biometric trait to the biometric system. Next characteristic is circumvention. Circumvention is defined as the ease with which the trait of a person can be imitated or copied by using different artifacts such as fake fingers in case of physical and mimicry in case of behavioral traits. The biometric trait or the biometric system should be immune to the circumvention. A biometric system is a pattern recognition device and it is composed of four modules: sensor module, quality assessment and feature extraction module, matching and decision making module, and the last one is system database module. Sensor module, it acquires the raw biometric data of an individual by scanning and reading. The second module, quality assessment and feature extraction module, it works for further processing, in which the quality of the acquired raw data is first assessed. The raw data is subjected to signal enhancement algorithm to improve its quality. The data is then processed and a set of salient features are extracted. Then we have matching and decision making module. In this module, the extracted templates are then matched against the stored templates and a matching score is given. On the basis of matching score, the identity of a person is validated or ranked. The last module is system database module. This module acts as a storage of biometric system. During the enrollment process, the template extracted from the raw biometric data is stored in the database along with some biographic information such as name and address of the user. A biometric system can be classified into two main categories on the basis of application mode. As you can see in the diagram, in the identification mode, the biometric system identifies an individual by searching the templates of all the individuals whose identification details are stored in the database. In this process, the system conducts a one-to-many comparison to prove the identity of a person, whereas in the verification mode, the biometrics information of an individual who claims certain identity is compared with his own biometric template stored in the system database. This is also referred as one-to-one comparison. A biometric system can be classified into two types of biometrics. The first one is the physiological or physical biometrics, and the second one is the behavioral biometrics. The physiological biometrics is based on the physical and biological characteristics of an individual, which can include face, fingerprint, which is based on the different type of minutiae pattern of an individual. The other physical characteristics include hand geometry, palm prints, iris, retina, ear, which is based on the different type of anatomical structure of the ear of a person, and the last characteristic which comes under physical biometrics is DNA. Whereas the behavioral biometrics include the signature pattern, which is very unique of an individual. Other characteristics include voice, which is a combination of both physical and behavioral characteristics of an individual. Other characteristics are gait pattern, keystroke. Keystroke is basically a pattern in which a person types in a unique way on the keyboard. And the last characteristic under behavioral biometrics is order of a person. Physical biometrics recognize an individual on the basis of his physical characteristics. Examples of physical biometrics include face, fingerprint, hand geometry, palm print, iris, and DNA. First, we will talk about facial biometrics. Facial biometrics is the most acceptable and non-intrusive method of biometrics. The most popular approaches to face recognition are based on the location and shape of facial attributes such as eye, eyebrows, nose, lips, chin, and their spatial relationship. It is also based on the overall analysis of the face image that represents a face as a weight combination of a number of canonical faces. The facial biometric system is also influenced or it is also affected by variations in facial expressions. This slide shows you the diagram in which facial features are acquired by the facial scanner. After that, a set of salient features are extracted from the raw facial biometric data. And after that, these features or the templates are compared with the template that has been already stored in the database module of a biometric system, and after comparison it proves the identity of a person. After facial biometrics, we have fingerprint biometrics. A fingerprint is the pattern of friction ridges and valleys on the surface of a fingertip. The type of information that can be collected from a fingerprint friction ridge impression include the flow of friction ridges, the presence and the absence of features along the individual friction ridge path and their sequence. The process of fingerprint feature extraction typically starts by examining the quality of the input image. The local ridge orientation is then used to tune and filter the parameters for image enhancement and ridge segmentation. From the segmented ridges, a thinned image is compared to locate the minima features. The machine representation of a fingerprint is critical to the success of the matching algorithm. Slide is depicting a diagram in which the process of fingerprint enrollment and verification or identification is shown. In the enrollment process, again, the salient feature of fingerprints are extracted as templates, and in the next stage, these templates are compared with the stored templates in order to identify or verify an individual. Hand geometric biometric system consists of a number of measurements taken from the human hand, including its shape, size of the palm, and the length and width of the fingers. This technique is relatively simple, easy to use, and inexpensive. The authentication accuracy of hand geometry is influenced during the growth period of children. In addition, an individual's jewelry, like rings or limitations in dexterity, for example, arthritis, may pose certain challenges in extracting the correct hand geometry information. The size of hand geometry biometrics is large and it cannot be embedded in small screen devices. The palms of the human hands also contain various unique patterns of valleys and ridges. The area of palm each is much larger than the area of a finger, and as a result, palm prints are expected to be even more distinctive than fingerprints. Palms of the human hand consist of many unique features that can be used for personal identification, such as principal lines, for example, distal transverse crease, proximal transverse crease, and radial transverse crease, and simultaneously it also consists of wrinkles, ridges, minutiae points, singular points, and texture. These features can be extracted at different image resolutions. For civil and commercial applications, low-resolution palm print devices are more suitable due to their small size and shorter computation time. Now we will talk about iris biometrics. A human's iris texture is a unique and reliable biometric trait for personal identification. As you can see in the A diagram, a iris is the annular region of the eye bounded by the pupil and sclera, which is the white part of the eye. Every individual has a unique pattern of iris, and even the identical twins, they do not have the similar patterns. Iris is formed during fetal development and stabilizes during first 2 years of life. The accuracy and speed of currently developed iris-based recognition system is promising and support the feasibility of large-scale identification system based on iris information. Retina recognition seeks to identify a person by comparing the pattern blood of vessels in the back of human eye. Retina is protected in the eye and it is not easy to change or replicate the retinal vasculature. The retinal biometric system requires the eye to be placed close to the sensor. Therefore, it also implies cooperation of the subject. This system uses a camera with an electromechanical sensor which measures from a short distance the natural, reflective, and absorption properties of the retina. A 7 microwatt bulb illuminates the retina and the vein pattern is recorded with visible and infrared light. The shape of the ear and structure of cartilaginous tissue of the pinna are distinctive. Ears were originally a part of the Bertillon system of human identification, matching the distance of salient points on the pinna from a landmark of the ear is used as a method of recognition. The diagram is showing you the different location and anthropometric measurements which were used in the Lenale system for ear identification. Ear recognition is not as reliable as face recognition. The combined use of ear and face recognition technology offers improved accuracy in human identification. DNA, that is deoxyribose nucleic acid, is often cited as ultimate biometrics since DNA codes identify information in a digital form that is available from every cell in the human body. The basis of DNA identification is the comparison of alternate forms, that is, alleles, of DNA sequences found at identifiable points, that is, loci, in nuclear genetic material. For identification, a set of loci is examined to determine which alleles are present at each chromosome. Any difference between enrolled and test samples indicates identity difference, while consistent identity between the samples indicate identity or a coincidence whose probability can be determined. DNA biometrics has some drawbacks. The first drawback is contamination and sensitivity. Since it is easy to steal a piece of DNA from an individual and use it for undisclosed purpose. The next drawback is no real-time application is possible because DNA matching requires complex chemical methods involving an expert skill. The third drawback of DNA identification is different kind of privacy issues. Since DNA sample taken from an individual is likely to show susceptibility of a person to some diseases. Behavioral biometrics is based on the non-physiological and behavioral trait of an individual. The most common behavioral biometrics are signature, voice, gait, and keystroke recognition. First, we will talk about signature biometrics. A signature is a simple, concrete expression of unique variation in human hand geometry. The way a person signs his or her name is known to be characteristic of that individual. Signatures, they are the behavioral biometrics that change over a period of time and they are influenced by the physical and emotional state of an individual. In addition to it, general shape of the sign name, a signature recognition system can also measure pressure and velocity of the point of the stylus across the sensor pad. Next, we have voice biometrics, which is a type of behavioral biometrics. Voice is a combination of both physical and behavioral characteristics of an individual. An individual's voice is based on the physical characteristics such as vocal tracts, mouth, nasal cavities, and lips that are used in creating a sound. These physical biometric characteristics are invariant, but the behavioral aspect of human speech changes over time due to age, medical conditions. For example, if a person is suffering from cold or any kind of emotional stress, voice is also not very unique and appropriate in large-scale identification. Voice recognition is based on two approaches: text dependent, where the recognition is based on the fixed predetermined phrases, and the next approach is text independent, where the recognition is independent of what a person is speaking. A text independent system is more difficult to design than the text dependent voice recognition. Speaker recognition is the most useful in telephone based applications, but the voice signal is typically degraded in the quality by the communication channel. Next characteristic under behavioral biometric trait is gait. Gait refers to the peculiar way one walks, and it can be used to identify a person from a distant point. This type of biometric is appropriate in surveillance scenario where the identity of a person can be superstitiously established. Gait is a behavioral biometric which is influenced by a number of factors such as body weight, walking surface, footwear, and nature of clothing. Keystroke behavior. It is believed that each individual types on a keyboard in a unique way. This biometric is also not very distinctive and unique in identification, but assists in recognition of an individual by offering sufficient discriminatory information. Keystroke pattern is also influenced by the emotional state, keyboard position, type of keyboard, etc. Order. Each object spreads around an order that is characteristic of its chemical composition, and it is unique to a person. And this can also be used for distinguishing various objects and individuals. This is done with an array of chemical sensors, each sensitive to a certain group of compounds. Deodorants and perfumes, they could lower the distinctiveness of odor of a person. These images are showing you the different examples of behavioral biometrics such as handwriting, voice, keystroke, gait of a person, and odor of a person. The table is showing you the comparison of various biometric technologies such as face, fingerprint, palm print, ear, signature, keystroke, and odor on the basis of different characteristic of a biometric trait, which is universality, uniqueness, permanence, measurability, performance, acceptability, and circumvention. Here we can see the facial biometric system is very good in universality. It is showing a medium level of performance in the permanence characteristic, and again the level of measurability is higher in facial biometrics, and circumvention is also very good in the case of fingerprint biometrics. In this table, H is showing the high level of the biometric characteristic, M is showing median level of biometric characteristic, and last L is showing the low level of a biometric characteristic. Now I'm going to talk about multimodal biometric system. This system allows the integration of two or more type of biometric recognition and verification system in order to enhance the performance requirements of identification. These systems are more reliable due to the presence of multiple biometric evidences, which can be face, fingerprint, gait, signature, or order of an individual. A multimodal biometric system could be, for instance, a combination of fingerprint verification, face recognition, voice verification, and smart card, or any other combination of biometric characteristics. This enhanced structure take advantage of the proficiency of each individual biometric and can be used to overcome some of the limitations of a single biometric system. Biometrics is being increasingly used in wide variety of applications. The major applications of biometrics include various fields such as forensics, government sector, and commercial sector. Under the forensic sector, biometrics is increasingly used in criminal investigation, parenthood determination, and in case of missing children. Whereas in the government sector, biometric device, they are rapidly used in the formation of national ID card such as Aadhaar, or it is also used in the formation of driver's license, voters registration, border crossing, and welfare disbursement. Whereas the application of the biometrics is also used in commercial sector such as ATM, computer login, mobile phones, e-commerce, internet banking, and smart card. So students, let us see what we have learnt in this module. The traditional system of identification is limited in their ability to address various identity issues. The advent of biometrics, which comes with the sound scientific and justifiable protocols, has served to overcome the shortcomings of traditional personal identification issues. Biometrics, it refers to an automatic recognition of a person based on her physiological and behavioral characteristics such as face, fingerprint. As you know that every individual has a unique pattern of fingerprints which are based on their unique pattern of minutiae, hand geometry, palm prints, iris, retina, ear, and DNA, which is the ultimate physical biometrics, whereas the behavioral biometrics, which include signature, voice pattern, which is a combination of both physical and behavioral biometrics, gait pattern, keystroke, which is the unique pattern of the typing on the keyboard, and the last behavioral characteristic, order, which is also an important behavioral characteristic of an individual. A broad spectrum of establishments can engage the services of a biometric system, including transportation, financial institutions, healthcare, law enforcement agencies, and various government sectors. Similarly, the concept of biometrics is also improving the identification performance of biometric based recognition. In short, biometric recognition will have a great influence on the way we conduct our daily business in near future. Thank you.